What is up, fellow bench warmers? Welcome to your daily fantasy quick. What's up, guys? Welcome to another quickie. It's a night before Judgment Day. Tomorrow is week 16 Judgment Day, and interesting matchups I'm having in the different leagues. I'm your host JJT with Commish. Commish Eric, how's your week so far in fantasy?
Better. I do have a 1-8. A team that is 1-8, but I have almost given up with that team. That's the Paul George team. So, but the others are better compared to last week, at least.
Yeah, I've had some teams who are tight in the playoff race, and one loss could make a difference. So I'm hoping I could squeeze in some wins in some of these leagues. Let's talk about some news. Not much today. Lebron James back earlier. I was surprised, actually. He played.
Maybe before LeBron, let's just sneak in since it's going to be a short one. Maybe we talk a little bit about week 17 schedule. Just a fast one. Yeah. Right. So week 17 has a very few games. I don't know what's up, but a lot of teams have only 3 games. Very few teams have 4 games. Only 8 teams have 4 games. And then the 2-game teams are Houston and Milwaukee. So, Giannis, we have Portis, Drew, Chris Middleton. Not a good week to have them. But also, week 17 is trade deadline week. The
exciting week.
So, my weekly analysis was a little different because, for one, I don't suggest you guys to just use your moves before Thursday or Friday. I don't even think you should just leave one move. Maybe two moves at least. Keep 2 moves just to have some flexibility. That's my biggest takeaway from this. And I know it's a few game week, and also Judgment Day, only 2 games because it's Super Bowl. So better make sure that you're not gonna be behind early because there are very few games to catch up on. Plus trade deadline. So your players might also, if they're the ones traded, they might miss games.
Yeah.
Right? So that's just my advice.
So those are nice advice for trade deadline. Again, it's going to be an exciting week in the NBA, in fantasy as well, because like we said, like I said yesterday, a trade can tip the scales in your team, right? If a player loses, especially if you have a player outperforming his preseason values, right? And then they get traded and then they suddenly lose value because sometimes those players are the game changers for your team. They are the ones that's carrying your team, right? Like players like, I'm not saying that players like Miles Bridges will be traded and all and lose value. It's just that players like those, if they get traded to a not so good situation, they can pull down some of your strength in terms of your teams because they're the ones. Like a lot of my teams who are stronger have players like Desmond Bain, Miles Bridges, those guys helping out the star players, of course, the core group, right? So yeah.
My suggestion also is like I put some teams that have a good schedule. Like Minnesota has the best schedule for me. They have Sacramento back-to-back, and they have Chicago, Indiana. They have 4 games, and they also have the game on the last day, the Super Bowl day. They have a game there. So my suggestion is maybe look at what I recommended, the teams that I mentioned. Add a player maybe at the start of the week from those teams.
Yeah.
Then don't stream the other days first. Yeah, I know you might lose the week if you don't add and drop, but it's gonna kill you if there's a player there that you can add that just got traded or something and you don't have any moves left.
And then you don't have a move already.
Yeah.
Right. So save your moves. I guess that's the biggest advice. Like going back, LeBron James returned way earlier than expected, right? 6 games was the initial timeline they gave him, but he came back surprisingly. I was surprised he played as well today.
He came back after missing 5 games. So, yeah, I expected next week to be the time he comes back. And what surprised me was not that he played really well.
Mhm.
He was moving well. He was, blocking shots left
I
and
think
right, jumping, windmill, dunking.
I think
So
at
yeah, he
this
played well.
I think at this point in LeBron James' career, we shouldn't be surprised anymore. I think he knows his body the best, and he's probably one of those players who knows when to go and when not to go. Being a
Mhm.
veteran, and maybe Chris Paul would be another player like that as well. They take care of their body very well. So not really surprised he played well. I think he was really ready to go. He didn't. It wasn't really something that he pushed himself to play despite the injury. I think he was really healthy enough to play the game. So yeah, and they won. And that's a good. That's
In
the best.
overtime game. In
Well,
overtime
the
game.
way it ended, it wasn't really good because they were leading the first half and then they lost the second half. They allowed New York, I think, to catch up. I think that was how it happened as well. But yeah,
But I also want to talk about AD a little bit. Since coming back, AD the past 3 games I mentioned 30 points, 13 rebounds, 4 blocks, 2
yeah,
steals. I mean, that's vintage AD. And I found it amusing that LeBron said that when AD was out, he found his hunger back, and it does seem that way. It really does. He's playing more, focused and doesn't seem to be complaining as much. He's playing basketball like before, which is good. But he had lots of near injuries again today, so I
AD
watched the
like
game
it's AD like fall.
a lot. He had a lot of AD light balls. Uh, I mean, one was in the head, one was in the back, one was this, one was that. So I don't know. It's just an experience watching AD if you own him in fantasy. I could say that as much.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, if you're worried, maybe you could trade him. Although again, he's trade value despite playing really well. Would it be as good as the other first round players, right? I mean, so it's gonna be harder to get a really nice player for AD. Maybe it's a need for need thing.
Unless you're gonna give me Jokic and Embiid, I'll hold on to my AD because he's a big. I don't think your team. If you have AD, you're relying on him. I'm pretty sure because he's
No,
your big.
here's my thing. You know, Embiid for AD probably wouldn't fly, right? Given
Yeah.
that some managers might want to sell Embiid for the future injury worries. AD also has that, so that wouldn't fly. So there's really not much options again for AD when it comes to the trade market. Um,
Unless you're gonna sell low. I mean, right? Unless you're gonna sell for
I mean, a two plus
Tatum,
two for one,
Clay.
Tatum plus one, right?
Yeah, yeah. Are you there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
There.
Let's move on. We're back. All right. Let's move on. We're buy players for today. Malik Monk, who had what 30.
Malik Monk had 30 points. Yeah, 29, I think. 29 points.
Yeah.
Mostly in the third quarter. 18 points in the third quarter. So yeah, I think he's in some waiver wires. I was able to pick him up in a 16-team league actually, because he had some bad games in between the good games. And even if he has a bad game here and there, just hold on because you can see today they really need him. He's their most consistent shooter.
And he's their third option.
Yes, yes. He's he's their third option right now. He's the kind of the big three.
All right. Other buy players, Brandon Clark. If he was dropped, you should hold on to him. You can pick him up, right?
Yes. The Anthony Melton also had a double today. Brandon Clark, not as good, but I think overall, if he gets 20-22 minutes, he's okay. He's gonna help you overall. Plus, it's not gonna hurt you a lot. So he's an okay hold and add
Yeah, Brandon
together with
Clark
Monk.
is among those players who is a model of consistency for the level of player he is. He's a
Yes.
like a six man, and but you could somehow be a little more confident. He gets what 10 points, 7 rebounds per game, right? That's solid enough for a player you picked off the waiver. Darius Baisley has been playing well lately with those good scoring, good blocks, good rebounding, solid play so far for Darius Baisley. He is
He,
widely available.
yes, he's basically their center right now. They're playing him at center because of the injuries and everything. Jakite is a more popular ad, but Beasley has been overlooked. But I know why, because he's can hit
Or in
you
poor field goal.
field goal, free throw and turnover. But right now, I think the rebounding, the blocks, the steals, it's worth it at this point. You just have to really hope and pray that he doesn't doesn't take a lot of free throws maybe and free field goals.
Yeah, so Darius Baisley could be added or streamed at least in standard league maybe. Mo Harkless is another player who's hot. This is the Mo Harkless window. We always have in a season we have this Mo Harkless being very fantasy relevant. Last game he had 6 steals. Today he had another. I think he had a double today.
Yes, that's true. And it's related to Marvin Bagley, as our friend Joseph Crisostomo told me. Probably together with Aaron Fox, they're not going to play them before the deadline, just to preserve them, maybe their trade value, or maybe they're the package, Fox and Bagley. So if that's the case, Harkless will start at power forward for the time being.
Yeah, and these players we're talking about, Harkless, Beasley, just add them and see where it goes, right? The moment they don't play as well, it won't be hard to drop them as well for another free agent, right? So,
Actually 14 team leagues. Actually 14 team leagues.
yeah, 14 team leagues. Gary Harris is the last in our buy list. Um, yeah, if you need threes, Gary Harris could be your guy here.
He's playing well. Gary Harris is playing very well, and scoring, actually shooting very well. He has averaged 3 3-pointers for a while now, for probably the past 2 to 3 weeks. So yeah, Gary Harris isn't bad right now.
Yeah, so those are our buy list. Worry players. Gordon Hayward came back from injury. Didn't play well.
Well, yesterday didn't play well. Today didn't play well. Today 0 out of 7.
Yeah.
So I think he's a buy low. He's a buy low.
You
It's
think?
always his injury. Yeah. I mean, I don't like Hayward, but if you can get him low right now, because he's what,
How
3 out of 30,
How low do you get?
really low. Maybe Lou Dort kind, or
Malik Monk.
yeah, or a Malik Monk. I like Malik Monk. I love Malik Monk, but Hayward is better than Monk. I mean, we all know that. So you just have to be patient. Just have to look long term picture. Maybe if the manager is really fed up, even a Darius Baisley would work, because if Baisley have a couple more good games and Hayward continues scoring 0 out of 7 like today. I mean, that you never know. You never know.
Or
The
maybe
manager,
package in one of your stash players wherein you don't really know if they're gonna fly or not, right? Players like Okongwu are quite high as well for some, right? Given that Atlanta doesn't look like they're gonna move players as much, players like Okongwu could have value for some of these just before the trade deadline, right? Not a one-on-one deal, but at least a low end.
or Buddy Hield.
Buddy Hield, yeah.
Or Buddy Hield. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I love that.
Kyle Lowry also has returned. Not good. This is the second game, I think. Not yet a good game. But I'll be more patient with Kyle Lowry.
I think Lowry today has so decent. He had 9.6 assists and 3 steals, and that's what I'm gonna say here. That's a good game already for Lowry. Butler and Adebayo are back. So you don't expect him to, score anymore.
Yeah.
And the assists will be okay. That's his category. But Adebayo and Butler can pass. Hero can do that also. So he will have, a lower ceiling because of how healthy the Heat is or are. So I'm not that bullish on Lowry's, rest of the season outlook
Yeah. And they'll
compared to
preserve
Hayward.
they'll preserve him as well. As the season goes along. Mo Bamba. Here, Mo Bamba, I'm pretty sure lots of Mo Bamba owners are a little bit concerned because he hasn't really scored well. He hasn't shot the ball as well. Hasn't shot that many threes, made that many threes. Hasn't rebounded well. Only the blocks is the saving grace, I guess, for Bamba. Is this a buy low now, or is this
Well,
really the Bamba that we should expect for the rest of the season? An
we
inconsistent
we
one.
we, we we talked about the other day, and I told you that he's a buy low. And we actually mentioned some names at that time. And I think at this point, I'm still saying that he's a buy low, the right kind of buy low. Outside top 120 buy low. Yeah, we're worried about his health. We're worried about everything. But if he's not really injured or he doesn't get injured, he'll bounce back. And and having the blocks every game helps his value. I mean, he's not a stash player, but he's actually not a bad stash player in other words, because he can also bounce back the rest of the season, right?
Yeah,
It's not necessarily he's gonna get traded, but he has a potential to get back to his old level. So he's
yeah.
kind of a stasher.
Yeah, and like I said, the blocks are really nice as well. For it's hard to get those. That alone can help you, somehow with one category, and I think that should be okay. I mean, you can treat him as a specialist at this point, who can sometimes give you good games. But yeah,
If
like you
if
said,
if you have Gafford before the trade deadline comes, I think you can offer Gafford for Bamba, and just sleep safer. I just feel like Bamba is better than Gafford. Whether Gafford gets traded or whoever gets traded in Washington, I would still prefer Bamba over
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Yeah,
But that's gonna be a hard trade to pull because of the way Gafford's been used. I mean, he played what 7 minutes again the last
yeah.
game.
You can sell it. You can say that Gafford will be traded. He can be. That's why you have to do it before February 11, because you have to sell it properly, market it properly. That this Bamba is struggling already. Nothing's gonna change with him. But with Gafford, what if he gets traded? He suddenly becomes a starter, and etc. etc. So
Yeah.
you can sell it right now at this point. Just sell
Uh,
it.
Something that happened last year for Gafford, right? Was traded mid-season,
Yeah.
and then his value skyrocketed as well. And Russell Westbrook is the last of our worry player. Well, he was benched. I think in the overtime. Was it in the overtime? He didn't play as much.
Yeah, he should have been benched earlier. I mean, his misses are really bad. It's not even close to hitting the rim. And when he touches the ball, the crowd actually is being really mean and bad, and shouting and everything. So as a player, you kind of feel for him, because whenever he's gonna shoot, they already have the reactions that are really negative. That it's really hard. It's gonna play with his mind. So I can understand why he's shooting 1 out of 10, not really playing well.
But this is
Because
Russell Westbrook. I think throughout his career, he's had criticisms here and there. So I
but
think he'll be
but not
fine.
like this. Not like this. I mean, when he's even just looking at the rim and gonna shoot, the crowd is already shouting and
And guys,
booing
take
him.
note, it
So
was a home game.
yeah, it's a home game. It's a
So
home game.
so
So
you could imagine he's going through what Ben Simmons would go through when he decides to play with Philly again. He'll probably end up like that as well.
he's going through what Julius Randle is going through in New York.
Yeah, another player. Yeah,
Actually, I just want to mention that Julius Randle is actually playing better on the road than at home. Yeah, just a trivia for guys
So that,
out there. And
that booing could be really affecting Julius Randle as well at home.
yes, he's playing better lately on the road than at home. But he had a good game today. But Randall right now is also a worried player. Actually, he's more matchup based at this point going forward. There's a good matchup he can produce, but if it's a bad matchup, don't expect stats. Don't expect stats.
What's a good matchup? A good team? A bad defensive team, you mean?
Yeah, the Lakers today. The Lakers. At who else?
They
Houston,
yeah,
OKC, Atlanta,
yeah.
Memphis. Actually, it's a good matchup. It's fast paced and smaller teams. He had a great start, great first half. The second half, he was totally awful. He was forcing it again. He was, I don't know what he was doing, but
Well,
at least
he
he tried.
I think in the first half he was forcing some of the shots. It was just going in. He was shooting some
Yes, exactly.
fadeaways, uh, and it was just going in. The moment he throws it, it doesn't seem like it's going in, but it does. So I think he really had a good first half. He just made shots. The second half, maybe the defense also adjusted uh, against him.
Yeah. He's just not good shooting from the outside. That period. So I mean, if he makes 80% of his shot in the first half, he'll make 20% in the second half because that's his average. He has to get back to his 40% average, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it is.
Yeah, let's talk about some feel good players. DeAndre Ayton had a double double. I think it's another, at least those worries about Ayton's injury, at least a little behind him right now because of that good performance. Although they were against Washington, a team not known to be good defensive team against centers as well.
It's another buy low. And I mentioned
Yep,
Jakob Poeltl.
another buy low.
And I mentioned Jakob Poeltl because I know Poeltl is playing so well, but I feel like Ayton will have a better second half, better next few weeks than Poeltl. Plus, I believe Poeltl will be traded. I have a feeling he can be. There's still the trade problems with Poeltl, so I like Ayton more. So that's the kind of deal I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But maybe
Also,
Kristaps, if you guys are worried about Kristaps.
Also, Aiton's been slowed down by injuries. Really, if not for the injuries, I think we could say that he's having a good season because he's had some great games as well before going down with an injury. So I think the struggles we can't blame it on the injuries. So hopefully this one gets him back uh, on track to having a great season. Yeah, the rest feel good players. RJ Barrett played well. Um, Tyrese Haliburton, snapped out of a funk. Although it's not really a funk because I can't believe Tyrese. When I watched the game, he's forcing some shots, forcing some threes, throwing out some fadeaway threes. But the assists really were nice today. He had 17 today. For
He's
Tyrese Haliburton.
very Chris Paul like Tyrese. Right now he's basically Chris Paul younger version. I,
And
I put
taller
the numbers
version.
I put the numbers there when Fox doesn't play 19, 5, and 10 with 2 steals, 46% field goal. It's Chris Paul numbers. So if you have him, he's a second round value. If you're gonna trade him, get a second round guy. That's how you should value him right now.
Yeah. LaMelo.
Yeah,
That's
something like
uh
Lamelo.
that's the target. Second
Yes.
round target if you want one. Lamelo's always been the guy. Who else? Second round, Vucevic, maybe.
Yep.
Those players.
Vucevic, yeah. And those kind, we're just gonna reiterate that is his tier. That's his level. Don't
At
trade
this
him
point, yeah.
for don't trade him for Jalen Brown, OG Collins, or maybe those lower Middleton, even Drew Holiday. Those are not his peers anymore. He's gone up to the next round,
Yeah.
higher round.
Another level. Tyrese Haliburton. All right, that's it for this quickie. Tomorrow is Judgment Day. Good luck. And like we said, next week there will be fewer games. So prepare for that, and trade deadline will also be next week. Good luck tomorrow. And then after next week, I think it's the All-Star
Yes.
week,
Okay.
right? The week, 2 week. How do you call that?
Calendar week.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Week 18 will be a combination of 2 weeks. That's it. That's
Yeah.
how you.
Okay.
And then for some teams, week 19 is already the start of the playoffs. So, and for the others, week 20, I just feel like the playoffs are so close to the All-Star game. Usually that doesn't happen. Although I think the All-Star game is a little bit late as well this year, because usually it's the
Mhm.
second week of
Yes.
the of February. Now it's in the third week, so I think it's a week late, I guess. Yeah, but it's getting closer to the playoff action. So good luck, guys, battling for playoff position, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Bye.